I just got back the rarest book in my collection from CGC. So, what is it? Well, it is Cerebus the Aardvark, #1. Now, if you don't know much about Cerebus, he began as a parody of Conan the Barbarian, but eventually his creator, Dave Sim, began to use the character to explore what some people would call his controversial beliefs. And in fact, this led to the coining of the term the Cerebus syndrome, where a comedic or superficial work eventually becomes serious and complex. And because of that complexity, Cerebus is widely regarded to be one of the top 100 comic characters of all time. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this is a very rare book. Only 2,000 copies were printed, and 400 of those were pretty much trashed when they were being shipped out. And the rest arrived mostly in mid-grade condition. And so high-grade copies of this go for quite a bit of money, but really any copy is pretty valuable. And this book has really got me to thinking, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts, so please leave them in the comments below about how good of an investment an independent book like this is in the long term. On the one hand, an independent book is going to typically have a low print run, and that's especially true of #1 issues when the creator's kind of weighing like, hey man, I don't want to overproduce this and just get left with thousands of copies in my home. It's going to be a small print run, and so of course that limited supply is going to help the book maintain its value, so it's a good investment for that reason. But on the other hand, there's a question of, will people care about this character 20 years from now? Even Dave Sim is gone. Is somebody going to pick up the mantle and keep Cerebus relevant to people? I'm not so sure. It's different with a character like Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. Obviously, those characters have outlived their creators and are being pushed by these major corporations that keep them relevant in new collectors' minds and help their first appearances continue to hold value. Now, is that going to happen with Cerebus? I don't know. And so if it doesn't, 20 years from now, does this book start to see some real decline? I feel like it's going to be safe for at least the next 20 years because there's enough collectors, my age and their 40s who will probably be collecting into their 60s before they start selling off their collections. They will always see this as an important book. So I think in the short term, it's safe. But I'm asking again, 20 years from now, is this still going to be a good investment? Now, going back to the other side, what if this character all of a sudden has a movie or a TV show and really gets a lot of mainstream attention? If that were to happen, and there's only really 1,600 of these that are in mid-grade condition or better, this book, I believe, is going to go straight to the moon. You can think of a book like Walking Dead #1 in more recent times, how much it grew in value because of the TV show. What if something like that happens with Cerebus? Now, I'm not counting on that, but it's just something interesting to consider. So I'm curious, again, what you think. Do you like a book like this in the long run? And there are other independent books we could look at. Bone is another one that was big when I first started collecting. More recent ones, I mentioned Walking Dead or Invincible. Are these properties that people will care about 20, 30 years from now? Will there be a company that eventually buys the rights to these characters from their estate? What if Marvel all of a sudden acquires the rights to publish Cerebus books because Dave Sim passes on and his kids, if he has kids or whoever inherits his estate, say, oh yeah, I'll sell this character to you for $200,000 or whatever it might be. And Marvel makes him a big thing, or DC or whoever. Does this all of a sudden become a crazy valuable book? Again, I'm not counting on that happening, but it could. Well, having said all of that, let's start talking about this particular copy. Now, something that was interesting when I got this book that I didn't know beforehand is that this is not a standard comic book size. In fact, it's wider than a Golden Age book. And so I didn't really know what kind of slab CGC was going to put it in, because I was pretty sure it wasn't going to go into a regular comic book slab. And so it is in something different. And I'm guessing this must be a magazine slab. I've never gotten a magazine slab. I had heard their magazine slabs are flimsy, but this is not. So I don't know if it is a magazine slab. They must have redesigned the case, because it's actually pretty thick and really sturdy. I mean, I feel like if somebody came intruding, I could whack them on the head with this and really do some damage. But I thought that was just a little fun fact about the book. All right, well, now let's get to the reveal. So it really doesn't matter financially to me very much what this book comes back as, because this was from a seller that I've bought from, and I put a down payment on the book, and we're going to adjust the price depending on what it is. So I'm pretty safe with whatever it is. Now, I think this is a pretty nice copy, but this black cover does show a number of ticks going down the spine. And so I'm going to guess that it's in the 7 range. But if the grader is having a good day, I could see it getting a ceiling of an 8. If it get higher than that, I would be really surprised and think, wow, yeah, I've got a really valuable book on my hands. And hopefully it won't drop below a 7. I don't think it will. But again, it's just really hard to tell with these ticks that show up on the cover. But I'm going to guess a 7. So let's see what we got here. 7.5. Very nice. So right in that 7 ballpark. So what an awesome grade on such a cool book. Now tell me in the comments below, what is the rarest book in your collection? Or just let me know what you think about Cerebus. Now, of course, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you consider doing so now. Like, comment, all those things that help with the algorithm. Thanks for watching, and as always, I look forward to the next one.